It's Lighthouse Angel Messages here. Welcome, welcome. Thank you for joining me. I'm just doing a collective reading for your Thursday. I apologize, I had my days messed up on today's reading, but tomorrow will be for Thursday. This will be for Thursday's reading. So, again, I apologize for that. But we're changing things up a little bit today. I want to start off with like a message that I've been called to, that I want to deliver to you at the beginning of each of my readings. And I had decided on this message, and then I was called to a particular deck for the overall energy, and ironically it's aligned with the message that I picked. So I highly suggest, pausing, writing this down, journaling this, so that you can keep looking back to it, okay? But the message I want to deliver is, don't wake up to be liked. Wake up to be real. Don't be a puppet to anybody's opinion, okay? I'm going to read that again. Don't wake up every day to be liked. Wake up every day to be real. Don't be a puppet to anyone's opinion. Okay? Really think about that and really try to do that every day. We live in a world that's, you get applause for how loud you are, right? And to really be in alignment with the real you, you don't need validation. You don't need to be liked. You don't need to be clapped. You just need to love yourself and making the divine number one, okay? Again, don't wake up every morning to be liked. Wake up every morning to be real. Don't be a puppet to anyone's opinion, okay? Okay, so that's something I'm going to start doing at the beginning of my readings. And then I pulled this card. It's number 5. It says number 5. It says, be true to who you are, which is really what I was trying to say at the start of this reading. It says, fear will not stop you from shining. So be who you are. Okay? Don't be afraid to apply change to your life so that you can walk in your truth. Okay? And again, this channel, we focus on taking you from zero to hero in your own life, getting you unstuck, moving forward, choosing to grow, expand, and elevate, okay? And that you have a choice. So let's get some more cards on this, and we can get more clarity on the message. But walk in your truth. Don't walk to be liked, okay? Because if you're walking to be liked, you're not walking in your truth. You're doing what you need to do to be validated by other people, okay? All right, so let's see. What else messages does a collective? Okay. It says, a chapter in your life is coming to an end. Rest assured that beautiful things are ahead in this next chapter. Let go of all things that are out of control and move forward. There are more beautiful things ahead than there are more beautiful things ahead than you leave behind. Okay? A chapter in your life is coming to an end. Rest assured that beautiful things are ahead in this next chapter. Let go of all things that are out of control and move forward. There are more beautiful things ahead than you leave behind. Yeah, and I think this chapter is about being true to who you are. Embracing your uniqueness and shining that beautiful light that's within inside of you, which is your truth. Okay? I'm getting called to get a Moonology card, and then I'm going to get some messages from the Lighthouse box too, so we can go deeper on this, okay? All right. But the main message here is, you know, standing and walking in your truth. And that may require you to do a lot of self-reflection, right? Going within, because all the answers are within you. You know, all your creative ideas, all the answers to everything outside of you is actually inside, is going within, okay? Yeah, a time of healing. That's just what I was just got done saying. A time of healing. Okay? In order to stand in your truth, right? With no masks, you know, not putting a mask on to fit into a situation or fit the mold or fit what somebody or someone wants you to be, right? Because that's not where your blessings lie. That's not where your God-given gifts are. They are within you, deep within the highest version of yourself. In order to get there, you have to do the healing. You've got to peel back those layers. Okay? I'm going to get one more. You got to do the inner work, right? You have to, especially for those who do, you know, feel like they need the validation. You know, so many people are, you know, taking pictures and wanting likes and want to be in the spotlight, want to, you know, want the clapping, you know, need to have that validation, right? But it's really not authentic validation in some aspects. And what happens when when you're no longer in the spotlight, when everybody's done clapping, it's silence, right? You're going to feel a void because the real true power is in your truth. Loving yourself, knowing your worth, knowing that you don't need anybody's validation. You don't need any approval from anyone, right? Because you already have the divine's support and approval and love. That's all you need to stay in your alignment. That's where all your blessings lie. It says, full moon in Libra, a win-win outcome is forecast. Yeah, this new chapter is going to be a win-win because you're going to be walking in your truth. Okay? And again, some of you have already done the healing. Some of you are just starting the healing. You know, we all have different timelines, different journeys. Okay? And the divine wants you to know you are good enough for this new chapter. For those of you who've done the healing, you know this now, and you're embracing this. It says full moon in Virgo. You could be dealing with a Virgo, or you are a Virgo. This is Libra, so you could be a Libra or dealing with the Libra. But you are good enough for this new chapter, which is a win-win, you know, because of your healing. And if you're not there yet, this is a futuristic that if you do the healing and realize you are good enough, it's a win-win. It is a win-win. With the divine, it's a win-win because once you know your worth and your value, you know you walk in your truth, in authenticity, integrity, not allowing yourself to be a puppet to anyone's, right? Knowing your worth, what you're worthy of, and just staying focused on the divine is where your true strength is. Because you'll never ever allow, anyone to manipulate you or alter your path. Because you know you're divinely supported. Okay. So we're going to get some more messages from the Lighthouse box. But you definitely have something new coming in. And it's all about walking in your truth. Not trying to be something you are. Being who exactly the way that God intended you to be. Let's see. Pay attention to the things you are naturally drawn to. They are often connected to your path, passion, and purpose in life. Have the courage to follow them. Yeah. For those out there who, by walking in your truth, you'll notice that the divine, your soul and your alignment and the communications and signs that you get from the divine will naturally pull you to things that are encouraging your path. So make sure you're paying attention. Don't allow time in your life of silence, meaning don't be on your phone all the time. Don't be listening, having your earbuds in all the time. Allow space to have the awareness of what is pulling you, what's drawing you to your path and purpose. Because sometimes it's God does the supernatural. So, you may be pulled towards something, but that's supernatural in its sense, but you need to be aware enough to be able to see it when it arrives, right? You can't be distracted. Especially when it comes to this new chapter, I'm hearing that. People who accomplish great things are aware of the negative. However, they give all of this mental energy to the positive. People who accomplish great things are aware of the negative. However, they give all of their mental energy to the positive. Yeah, and that's something I'm really getting. That's something that you healed and you've changed your mindset. And that's how you walk in your truth and your light. You transmuted all of that negative energy into and thought patterns. You've changed it into a positive mindset now. That's how you walk through life. In the moment, I'm also hearing you live in the moment. And I'm also getting called to this. There's scales on here. Libra represents as the scales of balance. I'm also getting you found your balance by knowing your worth. You found your balance in knowing your worth. Okay? By doing your healing. And now you're ready to embrace this new chapter, right? That's assured that beautiful things are ahead. Okay? It says, God will help you meet the right people at the right time. Yeah, that's this new chapter. And you know what? The colors match this card perfectly. Yeah, and it's because you're being true to who you are. Fear will not stop you from shining. Because I feel like I'm talking to someone out there, that is is in this energy of fear. You're fearless now. You've done this healing work. You understand and have balance of who you are, what you're worthy of. You walk in a different mindset. You see the signs that the divine is giving to you, and you are acting on them, right? And now God's sending in the right people at the right time in this new chapter, okay? And I'm also hearing this is going to be nothing like your past, okay? So find peace in that. This isn't going to be like anything of your past. Yeah. And it says peace. It says peace. And that's the energy you're in now. You found divine peace. Right? You put God first in your life. You're healing. You focused on yourself, your own garden. You've changed your mindset. You're paying attention to the signs. And you act on them. And you found peace in this season of waiting. Waiting for God to open those doors, right? Because He is the doorkeeper. Smile at life, and life will smile back at you. Yeah, that's the energy that you're in. Like, you are finding happiness, peace, and joy right where God has you at right now. And it's and learning that now you're limitless, right? Because you're so grateful and happy with where you are. Anything else, right, is just an added blessing. But you've really learned how to live in the moment where you are and find peace, joy, and happiness. And that should be celebrated. A lot of people struggle just finding those simple things in their life. Courage, yeah, because you had the courage to change. I'm speaking to someone who had the courage to change. Keep hold of that courage, because you're going to need it. You're going to need it in this new beginning. Keep hold on to that courage. Keep that fearless spirit, and move forward. It takes real quietening of the ego for you to hear the universe telling you that you are deserving of better energy. Yeah. And some of you may have worked on healing this ego. Maybe you were someone who walked in your ego, operated out of the energy of your ego, which is your shadow side, the darker side of yourself, right? But by quietening that ego, you were able to hear the universe telling you that you're deserving of better energy, and better energy being high vibrational people, opportunities, friends, lovers, something that's vibrating where you are, which is you smile at life, right? And you're realizing, what, I deserve to have somebody who smiles at life too. If this is pertaining to a partner. But it could be that you've done some self-reflection, realizing that maybe you were operating out of your ego too much, that you couldn't even hear the guidance of the divine, right? The ego will lower your vibration. So, and the ego is what requires that validation. It's that ego that needs to be validated, needs to be liked, right? But you can give that to yourself. The divine can give that to you. You don't need to operate out of ego, right? So let that go, let that quiet down so you can hear the divine's guidance. All right? And the ego likes to be in control too. So if the ego's trying to control, you're not going to hear the divine, or you're not going to be able to follow the divine's guidance and the signs, synchronicities, and messages that they're guiding to you, because you want to pursue your agenda, which is not the divine's agenda. And the only way you're going to know is you've got to surrender to the divine. You have to release the control on your life. You've got to give that to the divine and let them guide you. Because there's no better path for you than the one that the divine has for you. Okay? You got to stop living for yourself and start living for what the divine has for you. Dream big. Yeah, I feel like this is part of your new chapter. Like I'm also, when I say, it's like your dreams are coming in, but they're going to be big. Something big is coming in. It's really sticking out to me. It says, I loved you at your darkest. Romans 5:8. Yeah, and this is the divine letting you know, as you went through this healing, they've been with you this whole time. But in order to hear their guidance while you were in your ego, or, in the darkest is a represent of the ego, right? They were still with you. But you were walking in, trying to control the narrative with what you feel is best for you. But don't you think the divine knows what's best for you? So release, surrender, let God guide you, and know that you're deserving of a life of friendships, business opportunities, a divine partner in your life. You just got to quiet that ego and surrender to the journey. And God's going to bring in the right people at the right time, right? And again, this isn't all going to resonate for everybody. So just take what resonates for you and apply it accordingly, okay? You can forgive some people without letting them back in your life. Apology accepted, access denied. Okay. Now, what I'm really getting from this is that, is there somebody, there might be somebody coming in to apologize or want to apologize. This could be a female. I'm getting that because this is a female. Spirit is saying, you can forgive some people without letting them back in your life. Apology accepted, access denied. I'm really getting this is a female, a feminine energy here. I don't know if you went through a breakup or you're trying to separate from this person. Maybe they're trying to come back and apologize and get back into your good graces. But Spirit is saying, you need to accept their apology, but access denied, because you are worthy of more now. I feel like there's a truth that you see that you can't unsee now. I'm hearing that. There's a truth that you see that you can't unsee now. Okay? And don't dismiss that. Don't dismiss that. Because they can come in and promise the world, but you know what? The amount of change that is required to meet you where you are doesn't happen overnight. It takes a serious amount of time. Healing it takes time. So if this person is trying to flip the script with an apology and get access back in, Divine is saying, no, apology accepted, but access denied. You deserve better, okay? You've got a new chapter coming in here, and you're walking in your truth. This person, I'm getting an energy of someone who is fake, false, wears a mask, doesn't walk in their truth, and you do. You do now. If you weren't, you are now. Right? You found that peace. Don't let this person come in here and take your peace. Okay? Because I feel like they're coming in like they know they can't give you what you need, but they don't want to let you go either. Which is why you have to accept their apology, access denied. And I'm getting this as a feminine energy. This is a woman. So that may not apply, for all of you out there. Sometimes the universe shows you what people from your past are doing now, so you can see how far you have grown. Those who were once a frequency match are now energetically a million miles away. Evolution and growth is a beautiful thing. I'm going to read this again, but I feel like it applies to this person. Okay? It could be like a blast from the past that you ran into or something, and maybe they want to apologize, and I feel like this is what applies to that situation. Sometimes the universe shows you what people from your past are doing now, so you can see how far you've grown. You've grown past this person. Those who were once a frequency match are now energetically a million miles away. Evolution and growth is a beautiful thing. Yeah, and that's you. When you really put the work into growing, evolving, and healing and not settling for less, everything around you starts to change. God starts closing doors and opening new doors, and that may require letting go of people, letting go of jobs, letting go of friends. You have to be able to cut those cords and elevate where God is taking you. But you will have people that come back around or resurface or check in. I don't know, I'm hearing that, check in. That might be for somebody. Those people aren't coming in because they care about you. They're coming in because they want information about you, right? Or try to control you, manipulate you, okay? But I feel like you're a million miles away from this now, and you see the truth. You can't unsee this. It's funny how sometimes, things that we once wanted to pull in closely to us, now we only want to walk away from, right? Because we realize we're no longer in alignment with it. I have the Hermit. The Hermit in tarot is, he's holding a lantern. It's a very wise. It's a person with an extreme amount of wisdom. You also could be in hermit mode, which means you could be single, on your own, with a lot of wisdom. I'm getting that you've gotten a lot of wisdom from this healing, realizing that you've evolved and grown into your beautiful truth. And you found the courage to do this. And now your dreams, this new chapter, you realize your truth. And maybe, you've been in a season of isolation in this hermit mode. And sometimes the divine will do this to you. He'll pull you away from all these distractions to heal you and also to deliver the messages that he needs you to understand and apply to your life, okay? You can't heal and grow and get the messages from the divine when you're constantly surrounded by toxic people, lower vibrational people, because they're all pulling on you, tugging at you, job. You maybe you notice that there's a stagnancy in your job or business or something like that. He'll quiet that down, so he can have your full attention. That might be the energy that you're in right now. Okay? But and oftentimes he'll put you in hermit mode or isolation so you can heal from all of the heal those wounds, but cut away things that no longer serve you either, like any habits, any addictions, any thought patterns, any toxic friends, families, members, or anything that is not going to serve where he's elevating you to, right? He's got to strip you of all of those things in order to purify you, to take you to this new chapter. Okay? I have the Hierophant. Okay? This is commitment. This also is a spiritual teacher. You may be getting learning through a spiritual teacher. Or I'm also hearing you're committed to your spiritual healing as well. Also can indicate that you're going from hermit mode to the Hierophant, which is from hermit mode to commitment. There could be a new relationship coming in, which could be this new chapter as well. And I'm getting with this, if that's the story where, you might be meeting someone new. You're single now. You're going to be meeting someone new, and you're going to be entering a commitment with this person. It's going to be very peaceful, because I'm feeling that you're both healed. But what I am getting is that in this situation, both of you, I don't know why I'm hearing this, but both of you are going to have strong boundaries when it comes to people trying to intercede in their opinions or trying to loop back. I don't know why I'm getting that. Loop back. So keep that in mind. Okay. I knew I was healing when I started responding rather than reacting. I enjoyed alone time. I saw my parents as people with their own unresolved trauma. I set boundaries, and when people didn't respect them, I knew they were clearing space for those who did. I'm going to repeat that one, sorry. I don't have my glasses. I set boundaries, and when people didn't respect them, I knew they were clearing space for those who did. I was okay with being misunderstood. I feel like I need to read this one more time, just because this talks about this healing, right? For those of you, you're already in this. You've already learned this. And this, I'm getting this too. The paper is black, the writing is white. So you are now in the light when it comes to these kind of things from the darkness that you had to heal, right? I knew I was healing when I started responding rather than reacting. I enjoyed alone time. I saw my parents as people with their own unresolved trauma. I set boundaries, and when people didn't respect them, I knew they were clearing space for those who did. I was okay with being misunderstood. Yeah, that's the energy that you're in. The ones that have done the healing work, and again, Healing is a journey, not a destination. You now have the courage to walk in your truth, right? Waking up and choosing to walk your truth every single day. And that's, that's part of the healing journey. It's something that you have to implement on a daily basis. There's no magical wand for the hard healing work that has to be done. You have to wake up every day. You have to work as hard on your healing journey as you do have to work out at the gym to get results when it comes to, your fitness and your health. It's just people focus more on what the outside represents and neglect what the inside, your soul's calling, right? Your soul is the guiding light. So we need to focus on, if we heal the inside, if we heal our soul and our heart, right? Allowing the divine to do that work, working with him, putting those pieces back together, then when you put that all back together and you know your worth, you know your truth, you know your value, you walk in authenticity, right? Then the outside will reflect that truth. You don't have to go to the gym fighting to create a certain, I'm just using this as an example, but creating a certain look, right? To cover up all the wounds that are within you, because the energy doesn't lie. You can work out to the ends of time, but if you are operating out of the ego and out of your traumas, your energy won't lie. I mean, yeah, you're visibly attractive to look at, but your energy, the words you speak, your mannerism, everything will not lie about what's going on inside of you. It may, even if you're a good manipulator, right? And people who are awake will notice it on a dime, because they have that higher perspective. And that's part of the healing. Going through the healing, you get that higher perspective. And you'll see that a mile away. But my whole point is that so many people focus on the exterior, trying to hide what's going on in the inside. Putting on a mask, and getting really good at manipulating and keeping that physique and walking the talk, right? But none of it is real, because what's in the inside is full of darkness, full of trauma, full of wounds, full of childhood trauma, full of ego, control, right? And no way will anything ever stay very long, because you can't build a solid foundation on anything walking in that kind of energy, right? It may hold up for a time, but it will fall, because the truth, building anything out of truth, it will stand the test of time. But if you build something that's faulty, fake, full of lies, ego, control, darkness, it may stand for a time, but a truth always comes to light. And once that truth comes to light and it's exposed, everything becomes a tower moment, just destroyed. So it's so important to realize how far you've grown, that you're no longer in alignment with something of the past. If this is a woman trying to come back around, right? Because you've done the healing. You may have been in the dark, but you're not now. This person, I feel like, is still, she's black. It's like she's still operating out of the shadow side, her ego, the mask, the fakeness. You know, like just kind of what I was just talking about, which is, you know, keeping everything on the outside looking good while never working on the inside. In order to keep that going, that facade going, right, you have to wear a mask. You have to manipulate. So just keep that in mind when it comes to that person, okay? And keep your dreams big. Big, huge. I'm hearing huge, okay? And have the courage to go for them when God opens those doors, okay? And when he does, you keep walking in your truth, okay? All right, I'm going to get one last card to close up this reading. I hope this has resonated for you. Don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel, as I'm trying to get this channel up and going and getting it to the people that need to hear it, okay? All right. What's the final message? I'm going to put those back. That was too many cards. What's the final message for this reading? What does the collective need to know? Okay. There's another emphasis on dreams. I am the dreamer of my dream. Yes. Stay focused on your dreams. I feel like they're coming in. If you're trying to manifest, or you've been in the energy of trying to manifest, it's working. So whatever you're doing, keep focusing on your dreams. I choose love no matter what. Yeah. Choose love no matter what. You know, what you love, what your soul's calling is. And apply that to all aspects of your life. You know, to your divine partner, to your job, to your friends. Okay? Love is the highest, most powerful, love is the most powerful energy. Okay? It's the divine energy. And choose that. Right? Because that's going to put you in the alignment with the divine and keep you there. It's going to keep you there. It says, my faith has the power to turn trauma into healing, conflict into growth, and fear into love. Oh my gosh, that's so beautiful. And it's like there's a tree with roots here. I feel like this is you, like you've grown, you've sprouted. You know, what was once dead is now fully blooming. It says, my faith has the power to turn trauma into healing, conflict into growth, and fear into love. Okay, another emphasis on love here. Okay, and if you're on your healing journey here, you know, keep the faith and have the power to turn your trauma into healing and any conflict into growth, and turn fear into love. You know, I've said this before in previous readings, but I'm going to say it again. You cannot fear and love something at the same time. Okay? They're total opposites. So if you really love something, you cannot fear it. Okay? And again, fear is an illusion. It's not the truth. So make sure you stay in that fearless energy and the alignment of love. Okay? Because that is truly the most powerful energy of all, is love. Okay? I hope this has resonated with you. If not, I do daily readings Monday through Friday. So if something doesn't resonate for you here, please check back tomorrow and hopefully there'll be something for you there. I'm sending you so much love and light, and I'm wishing you a beautiful Thursday. Take care. Bye.